Election day is in full swing, and to make sure all of our Coloradans are getting all the tools possible at your disposal, we brought in Secretary of State Gina Griswold. How you doing today, young lady?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for having me on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for taking some time out of your day and highlighting this for the Western Slope. So, Secretary, what do you need to bring to a voting place?
So your ballot, if you already have a ballot, you could drop it off at one of 400 drop boxes across the state or at a voting center, or you could still register to vote and cast a ballot until 7 p.m. tonight. And all the information that you need, and including the various types of IDs, is at govotecolorado.gov.
Here in Mesa County, we had issues with voting machines. What measures are in place to ensure it doesn't happen again?
Well, Mesa County was front and center to the nation's first public insider breach when the former county clerk compromised her own systems. I ended up decertifying all that voting equipment and then asked my 2018 Republican opponent, former Republican Secretary of State Wayne Williams, to take oversight of the election. That election, Mesa County had great elections. We expect there to be great elections in Mesa County and all across the state of Colorado this election. But there are new reforms in place, including the first in the nation law on insider threats, which makes it a felony to compromise voting equipment and also protects whistleblowers.
A lot of volunteers and election officials received threats the last two elections. What protections are in place for volunteers and officials?
Well, every voter and election worker should be able to do their job free of intimidation. For voters, that means going to the polls knowing that there won't be intimidation. It's a crime to intimidate a voter in the state of Colorado. And I led a new law which prohibits open carry close to a drop box or voting center or where ballots are being processed. And you're right, we've seen this a huge attack on democracy across the nation, which includes threats to election officials. So there's new reforms, including making it a crime to threaten or retaliate against an election official. You know, we have no reports of anything like that happening in the state of Colorado. We have great elections. We're considered the nation's gold standard, both for voter access and security. And by all measures, we'll have another great election this year.
What penalties are in place for people who would first try to tamper with voting machines in any county, and also for people who make threats against any poll workers or election officials?
Well, the truth of the situation is that Tina Peters broke various laws and is now facing 7 counts of felony indictment for her actions. Colorado's elections are safe and secure. Voting equipment is tested by bipartisan teams of election judges ahead of its use. Remember, we vote on a piece of paper, which cannot be hacked by our foreign adversaries like Russia or domestic actors. And then we check that tabulation is correct. And we do that through, it's called a bipartisan risk limiting audit, where literally your neighbors, Republicans and Democrats paired together, make sure that the counting of the ballots was correct. Colorado is considered the safest state in the nation for a reason. And when there are evolving threats, I think Mesa County has seen that I will act quickly to protect the right to vote for every Republican, Democrat, and unaffiliated voter, and then tighten our laws if necessary.
Yes, ma'am. One last question before I get out of your hair, Ms. Griswold. Is there anything that I didn't highlight that you deem viewers should know important about Election Day?
Absolutely. So Coloradans who are eligible can register and cast a ballot all the way up until 7 p.m. today. It's our duty and privilege as Coloradans and Americans to make our voices heard in the local issues, the statewide issues that will affect how our communities function. So Coloradans can find their closest voting center or drop box, all the information they need to register and cast a ballot at govotecolorado.gov.